What's up guys, it's Manga Time once again with Bleach 530, Everything But the Rain Opening 3. Before we begin, I'd like to direct your attention to the description. I've got a Facebook fan page. I'm new to this sort of thing, but there's some artwork on there. You can chat to me about Bleach on there, and I just really appreciate it if you gave it a look and gave it a like if you have a Facebook account. So yeah, thanks a lot guys, don't forget to subscribe to my videos as well, and let's get on with the review. So it starts off with Naruki City, which, if you'll remember, is where the Fullbringers are located in the present day, or were located anyway. And Isshin, there's a couple of low-level Shinigami there sort of patrolling the area, and it kind of makes me wonder why they're there, because the society is clearly aware of the issue. So why haven't they been pulled back? I mean, they've sent the captain there now, so that's fine. So why haven't they just pulled these guys back? But whatever. And they're like, whatever it is that's killing Shinigami always arrives when it's about to rain and it's starting to get cloudy, so it might be in trouble. Isshin arrives and he's like, oh well, thanks for the information, I know what to look out for. And he basically tells them to go home. Then we swap over to the Ishida house, and this is really interesting because as soon as I saw this, I thought, because we get like this kind of cool colour page of Masaki, and the name of the chapter is Darker Than the Dark Side of the Moon, or something like that, Darker Than the Moon, or something like that. Which is interesting because obviously the moon is very symbolic when you're talking about the Kurosakis, Ichigo, Zangetsu, Engetsu. Very symbolic. So I'll get onto the title later. Actually, it's really quite a good title. But yeah, basically we go to the Ishida house, and now the first thing that came to my mind was, even though that Masaki has been confirmed as a Kurosaki, maybe she's somehow still Ryuken's sister. Not quite the case, however, you do find out some very interesting things. Basically, we see Ryuken's mum, which is Uryu's grandmum, and she looks a lot like Jackie Tristan. And she's basically having a go at Masaki, because Masaki is apparently the last of the Kurosaki line, and the Ishidas took her in to get her to marry Ryuken and preserve the Quincy's, basically, because she's a pure-blood Quincy. And so they're kind of watching over her. This woman's kind of her pseudo-aunt, and she's like, how's school? Masaki's basically joking around. She reminds me to no end of Orihime. So much of Orihime. And yeah, she's basically like, school's alright. And then the woman's kind of like, oh, what about your holy training? And Masaki's like, yeah, I'm doing it. Little by little. And the woman gets annoyed. Then Ryuken arrives, which is really awesome. It's kind of weird though, because he's got white hair, and I kind of thought he had black hair in the flashback. Maybe that was just the anime. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, he comes in, and it's really awesome just to finally get some history to Ryuken, and flesh out his character a bit more. And I have to say that back in the past, he really reminds me of Uryu. You know, he's nowhere near as hard hitting as he is in the present. Nowhere near as tough, and he's sort of quite passive, but analytical at the same time. And basically, he's just like, don't shout, you can be heard outside. The woman leaves. Masaki leaves. She has this kind of little back and forth with Ryuken before she goes. And she does that very typical anime girl thing where they're like, I'm so happy, but you know they're really upset. Then Ryuken has this very interesting little interchange between himself and the maid, Katagiri. As she's laying out the dinner, Ryuken's like, do you think... He says something that alludes to the fact that he loves Masaki, but he clearly knows she doesn't love him, and that she shouldn't be forced into this marriage. Katagiri thinks that's quite a kind thing for him to say. She thinks that it's nice that Ryuken thinks people shouldn't marry for anything but love. And again, this is a very different tune to the Ryuken of today. He's all money and profit. But interestingly, Ryuken kind of denies this. I mean, he would be fast to deny it, but he says that it's not for my sake, it's for the Quincy's sake. So yeah, that's kind of the end of that little bit. And then it goes back to Isshin, and it's raining now. And he's like, oh, it's raining. I guess it's going to come out. Maybe I can attract it with Reiatsu. He has this really awesome pose where he like lets off his Reiatsu. But the two Shinigami he told to leave are still there, and they get killed really quickly. And then suddenly this thing appears behind Isshin, turns around, dun dun dun. It's basically Ichigo's hollow. Because damn, that thing really looks like Ichigo's hollow. I mean, seriously. It's got the horns, it's got the helmet with the hair coming out behind it, it's got... Well, his arms kind of look like Ichigo's new Bankai. But it kind of turns to him, and that's the end of the chapter. He's like, what the hell is that? So that's the end of the chapter. Solid 9 out of 10, I think. Again, this flashback arc continues to be ridiculously interesting. So let's kind of start from the beginning. Naruki City, Fullbringers, that leaves me to one thing I desperately want to see out of this flashback, and that's Ginjo. I seriously hope he's in it somewhere. It would just be fantastic. It'd be fantastic to see him there. It'd be fantastic to have his past interwoven with Isshin's. That would give more meaning to the beginning of the Fullbring arc, anyway. Then to the bit with the Masaki and Ishita's family. Really interesting to see some kind of pseudo-love triangle, maybe quadrangle thing coming up if Ryuken likes Katagiri. She could quite easily be Uryu's mother. But depending on whether she's a Quincy or not. I mean, I think Uryu's pure blood. So therefore she'd have to be a Quincy. But, yeah, he clearly likes... He knows Masaki doesn't like him, and he quite possibly has a thing for Katagiri. Really interesting to see this. But what else is interesting is the fact that he's kind of friends with Isshin in the present timeline. So what does that mean? I mean, I can't remember exactly, but I think when Isshin and Ryuken first interact, Ryuken calls him Kurosaki. Isshin's surprised to hear him call him this, obviously because he knows that Isshin's not a true Kurosaki. And, you know, you kind of have to think that, what does Ryuken think about Isshin taking his supposed-to-be wife? You know, I mean, is he that bothered? Probably not, if he ends up with the one he actually wanted to be with. But, all the same, that is really interesting. But then we get to the final part. Probably the most interesting. That thing is quite clearly a Vasto Lord. It also looks a damn lot like Ichigo's hollow. Now, what the hell is going on? Last chapter, Tosen said that the holification they're creating is virulent, which means it's like a virus, which explains how all the Vizards caught the holification, if you will, by coming into contact with each other. Now, when Masaki fights this Vasto Lord, does she catch the holification, which would explain how Ichigo can learn Fullbring? Actually, no, it wouldn't. She would have to be pregnant at the time. Maybe they fight this Vasto Lord again later on, I don't know. I mean, I presume she kills it pretty soon, actually. Really, that's kind of interesting. So, this is clearly, this creature that I presume Isshin created is the basis for Ichigo's hollow powers. So, maybe it's virulent. Tosen said something about them being able to creating a hollow that can target something and give it holification almost. It'd be very interesting actually if this was the same creature that holified Quincy and Mashiro, and then started the chain of virus like holification, which would be very interesting because if they were all linked. But yeah, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think this is Ichigo's hollow? Is it a Vasto Lord? Do you think it was created by Isshin? Do you think it is the cause of the Vizard's holification powers? Let me know in the comments below. That's kind of all I've got for you today. 9 out of 10. Unfortunately, we've got a break next week. Really annoying. But, yeah, I'll catch you soon. Other than that, see you later, guys.